Hello everyone, welcome to my channel EarthScience. So in my last video we discussed about the rock cycle, right? So from that discussion we came to know about that igneous rocks are the first rocks that are formed. So today we'll discuss about igneous rocks. So let's start our topic regarding igneous rock. So how igneous rocks are formed? That is the first thing that we have to know. So before we go deep inside this topic of igneous rocks, we should know that approximately 90% of Earth's crust is made up of igneous rocks. So the first in the rock cycle, what we discussed is that the first rocks that are formed is the igneous rocks because from the magma chamber what comes out it's the lava or magma. So those lava and magma which comes out on the surface of the earth because of the internal disturbance in the earth's interior, so those lavas and magmas that come on the surface of the earth, they undergoes some processes by external agents like water, wind, than your eyes maybe. Those gets in the over the time those lavas get cooled down and they consolidate they finally they make up the igneous rocks. Okay, so this is the brief description and it's regarding the igneous rock. So it is a rough description, you can say. So now what is igneous, how igneous rocks are formed, that will be continued in this video. Okay, so what we have come to know till now is that magma, which is hot, viscous and siliceous melt, which also contains water and gases, and they comes out from very great depths below the earth's surface. Okay, so when they come out, they loses those gases. Okay, gases and some amount of water also. And then those magma, after that process, those magma comes to be known as the lava. Okay, so now this is the way how the igneous rock, the first formation of igneous rock is done. Now we have to know what is the chemical composition of igneous rock. Igneous rock. Okay, so the chemical in if we go through the chemical composition of igneous rock, so there are many components in the igneous rocks like SiO2. Then comes your, which forms a major part, around 40 to 75% by weight. 40 to 75% of the igneous rock is made up of this oxide, which is the largest component in the igneous rock. Okay, SiO2. After that, the percentage of the component which comes next to the SiO2 is Al2O3. This is the second most. This is the first, this is the second. Okay, this makes up about 10 to 20% by weight of the igneous rock. And the other components, oxides of other components like oxides of calcium, magnesium, iron, these are also there, but they make up, they're there in the igneous rock in very less amount, which extends up to less than 10%. Okay, so from this what we came to know that SiO2, silicon dioxide, is the major component of igneous rocks. This is the major component. After that, what comes is the alumina, This comes next after SiO2. Okay. So based on this chemical composition, igneous rocks are divided into okay, wait, I have to rub this. I will rub this. Okay. Based on chemical composition, igneous rocks are classified into acid and basic rock. Okay, so these acid rocks are those which have higher amount of SiO2. These are the acidic rocks. Okay. Okay, these are the acidic rocks. Then basic rocks. In basic rocks we find silica will be there, but it will be less than those of acidic rocks. So these are so based on this chemical composition, which mainly depends on the composition of the original magma from which the igneous rock has been made. So based on that chemical composition of the magma, igneous rocks are divided into acidic rocks and basic rocks. So the acid uh, So based on the chemical composition of igneous rocks, we have various kinds of igneous rocks, which is the first one is, I will write here. Number one is ultra basic rock. And it has silica percentage which is less than 45% SiO2. Okay, so this is the first rock type of igneous rock which has and which depends on the chemical composition of the magma from which it has been made, or from which it has been formed, is the ultrabasic rock, and it has the least amount of silica. The next comes basic rock. Okay, for ultrabasic rock the example is peridotite. So peridotite is the igneous rock which has, this is one of the examples, there may be many other, but this is the classic one, the most used example for ultrabasic rock is peridotite. Next comes the basic rock. Basic rock or basic igneous rock. So this contains silica between 45 to 55% SiO2. And if I give you example, gabbro and basalt. Okay. Next is your intermediate rock. Intermediate igneous rock. Intermediate igneous rock. So it has it has a slightly higher, amount of silica in it. So it will range from 55% to 65% silica. So what we are seeing here is, as we are going down, so from ultra basic to basic, basic to intermediate, the percentage of your silica amount is increasing. Okay. And one example of intermediate rock is the most usually used is the diorite. Diorite. We will later on study about this type of rocks separately in the further videos. What is dioritic rock, what is gabbro, what is basalt, and how those rocks were formed. Okay. The last one is the acid rocks. Acid igneous rocks, and this is the most acidic one. Here the silica percentage increases to more than 65%. This is the most acidic one, so the silica percentage is on the higher side. And the most common example is, which is very easily found everywhere, is the granite, and it can be easily identified also. Granite is the most important rock of important acidic rocks. Okay, so these are the four types of igneous rocks, which depends whose means composition depends upon the chemical composition of the magma from which it was formed. So, and based on this, there are four types: ultra basic, basic, intermediate, and acidic rocks. Okay, so these are the four main types. For today, we will wind up here. In my next video, we will continue further.